रेमडेसिविर खरीदने वालों की लंबी लाइन नजर आ रही है। कई दुकानों पर तो लोग 24 घंटे से रेमडेसिविर के इंतजार में खड़े दिखाई दे रहे हैं।
This comes as Maharashtra Minister Nawab Malik called for confiscating Remdesivir stocks which are unused and will be given, according to him, to the needy.
Relatives and families of COVID-19 patients in Pune are sitting on a protest right outside the collector's office demanding Remdesivir.
India is in the middle of a big crisis right now, and we saw issues like the Kumbh Mela going on where approximately 1700 people tested positive for COVID-19 in a matter of 5 days. But a BJP leader knows what's up.
आपको मैं बताता हूँ, गंगा माँ ही इस कोविड का सर्वनाश करेगी। इस कोविड को जो खत्म करेगी गंगा माँ हर।
Politicians are still doing rallies and Modi ji is still behaving like a creep.
आदरणीय दीदी, ओ दीदी.
And I don't know what Mamta is doing.
Hamba hamba ramba ramba kamba kamba. Dumba dumba bumba bumba bamba bamba.
But I really appreciate Rahul Gandhi for calling off the rally. People are saying that he was anyway going to lose the elections, which is true, but appreciate the gesture that, he took the first step, to not do any rallies anymore. All this is happening when we are growing at approximately 3 lakh cases per day, which is extremely huge. And this is the second wave of the COVID-19. There are other issues which are there, like lack of beds, lack of oxygen, lack of vaccination, and moreover, lack of Remdesivir. We have seen big lines. People are standing in big lines to procure this drug. Then politics is happening over this drug. Then on social media, you see stories being shared that, somehow manage for a Remdesivir for someone, for their loved ones. Or you see tweets on it. So there is a big hype around Remdesivir. But is it really effective? Is it a life-saving drug? Remdesivir is an antiviral drug which was developed by Gilead Sciences, an American pharmaceutical company, for hepatitis C and respiratory syncytial viruses. And it was made more than a decade ago but did not receive any marketing approval. That's why Remdesivir is called a drug which is in search of a disease. Because it has not treated any disease, but probably there might be a disease in the future which it might treat. It was tested for Ebola, SARS, MERS and Marburg virus infections and again didn't demonstrate sufficient efficacy to be approved. The COVID-19 got it back into the picture when the then USA President Donald Trump, those days, when he offered Remdesivir to Boris Johnson when he was infected with COVID-19. And all of this when it wasn't tested at all. Like, Trump was extremely weird. Early studies into Remdesivir had some conflicting evidence. Like, some studies showed that it reduced the recovery time, then it reduced the severity of the disease, it reduced the death rate. Whereas some studies shows that, it didn't do anything. It didn't reduce the death rate. Neither did it reduce the time span of the disease. Gilead Sciences too did not claim that it is a treatment for COVID-19. In April 2020, the New England Journal of Medicine published a study where out of 61 patients who were hospitalized with COVID-19, 53 were given the drug and 68% improved while 13% died. However, we couldn't say that it was because of this drug because there was no control group. Dr. Sumit Ray, who is an HOD in critical care medicine, in an article said that it is important to note that Gilead employees co-authored the paper. This presents a huge conflict of interest, which means that the study which was conducted in New England Journal of Medicine, in that one, even Gilead Sciences, they were a part of doing this research, which is not right. Because they are the ones who are making the medicine. Dr. Sumit Ray also says that COVID-19 is a fast replicating virus unlike HIV, hepatitis B and C, which replicate slowly. Antivirals work against slow replicating viruses because the build-up takes time and it can be blocked by antivirals. But in faster replicating viruses, the ideal time to give the antiviral is before the symptoms even start and before the virus starts rapidly replicating. If you can tell the patient has the infection by then. Which means that it can be effective against COVID-19 when you can detect if a person has COVID-19 even before the symptoms start to show. Once it starts to replicate fast and symptoms start to show, then it is going to be ineffective. So checking if you have COVID-19 before symptoms show up, a little tricky situation. The study published in New England Journal of Medicine concluded that Remdesivir is more effective than placebos in terms of shortening the time of being hospitalized with COVID-19 and also had evidence of lower respiratory tract infection. But then another study was conducted in collaboration with WHO where approximately on 7,000 patients they tried out different drugs. And out of these 7,000 people, 2,750 received Remdesivir. And other than these 7,000, around 4,000 were given no drug. And according to the study, it was very well concluded that this drug, Remdesivir or any other drug, don't reduce the mortality of the person, which means that it is not a life-saving drug. Neither does it reduce the clinical worsening of a patient. If a person is going towards a bad side of COVID-19, he will continue to, irrespective of being given the Remdesivir or not. So there are claims that if a person takes Remdesivir, they might not end up on a ventilator. This is not true. The only place where it might have shown a little evidence is that it might have actually reduced the time span of the person recovering. It might have reduced that time span. But it doesn't reduce the mortality and the clinical worsening of a patient. But because of this hype being created around Remdesivir, the people who are not even very serious, they are just getting admitted into hospitals just to get the Remdesivir. And this is unlikely to be effective on them, which in turn is hampering the bed availability for people who are actually serious with COVID-19. So the question is, when can you give Remdesivir? Dr. Lancelot Pinto, consultant pulmonologist at Mumbai's PD Hinduja Hospital, told The Scroll, the only situation in which I would use the drug is when a high-risk individual with early viremic symptoms is admitted in view of the high risk. Once a patient's oxygen levels have fallen, the drug is unlikely to be of any use. So they have to identify the person who has the earliest symptoms, like where it has not started to spread a lot within the body, and identify if that person is going to be of high risk later on. Then that's the only time it might be effective. Once it goes into the later on stages, it is not going to be effective. But on the other hand, the desperation of people is understandable because their loved ones are in the hospital. They need to try out something for the last moment. So it is fine, they want to do this. But the drug itself won't be any more effective. So don't let this hype cause any disturbance and desperation. Again, it doesn't reduce the mortality of the person. Neither does it reduce the severity of the disease. Share this video as much as possible so that people understand this. These misconceptions need to go. And the panic regarding this drug needs to stop. At the present moment, mask and social distancing is very important. The politicians are irresponsible and they'll jhadofy big gyan at you. But we as citizens of this nation, we need to be responsible. We need to mask up. We need to do proper social distancing. And also vaccination. Vaccination is very important. Tell the elderly that they should get vaccinated. Don't fall into these WhatsApp gimmicks where these bunch of anti-vaxxers come and send messages that vaccine causes autism, this, that. Just share a good link with them which clears their doubts out. We are in the middle of a big crisis. So vaccination is probably one of the things which has proven to be effective. As you can see in the chart over here, where Israel and UK, both these places, around more than 60% of the people are vaccinated. And you can see the fall in cases and in the fall of deaths over there. So the faster we get vaccinated, the better it is. We have such people sitting at the center who aren't qualified at all to take decisions. When the center was asked that let's do door-to-door vaccination because some elderly cannot walk, they are bedridden, how will they take vaccines? The center again rejected this request. Under what basis? God knows. Modi ji will keep doing rallies and behaving like a creep. Mamta will do mamba, bamba, jamba, jamba. But we as citizens need to be responsible and take care and be safe. Share this video so that more people understand what this Remdesivir is, what are its limitations. Thank you everyone for watching the video. See you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.